Chào mừng quý vị quay trở lại với chương trình Đồng tiền thông minh trên kênh FPNC với cuộc trò chuyện cùng ông Winston Lim, là tổng giám đốc của Bizlink, là công ty sẽ tổ chức sự kiện triển lãm quốc tế về franchising, nhượng quyền thương mại vào tháng 9 tới đây, và ông Sean Ngô là tổng giám đốc của Việt Nam Franchises, tổ chức tư vấn về nhượng quyền thương mại. Welcome back. So, Mr. Lim, I want to hear from your perspective. You as Singaporean,
Right.
I want to know like how Singaporean franchisors think. And how do they make selection when they talk to a franchisees in terms of a possible partnership or possible cooperation? How can they decide? I mean, it's going to take a long time, and what do they look at?
Okay, basically, of course, they look at their experience. Is it relevant? But I think most important of all is they're looking at the potential franchisee in terms of the chemistry as well.
Okay.
How they can actually work together for a long term. And they're also looking for someone reliable. Reliability is very important because it's like a marriage. And also they want to look for someone that really can understand the system and follow the system. Yeah. Of course, every country is different, every market is different. So some of the franchisees may suggest some localization, but as a whole, they still hope to get someone to understand the system and follow most part of it, rather than just anyhow change the system.
What is your favorite Singaporean brand, and what kind of lesson that we can learn from in terms of franchising?
There are many brands that I can think of. One of them is Bread Talk.
Bread Talk?
Yeah, Bread Talk. I think a lot
they're
of
here
people
too.
know about. They are here. They are in Japan, in China. What made them so successful is they are even able to go into a certain market like China and Japan that is so difficult to enter. Japan is definitely a very difficult market to enter. I think the success actually boils down to finding. Actually, they take a long time to look for the right partner, and I'm sure they didn't really do it right the first time. But throughout the years, the commitment of the Bread Talk, the management themselves, so it's also very important. The top management must be committed to understand and to believe in the franchise and to give ongoing support to the franchisee. It's not like selling the franchise, get the money and wash hands.
Okay.
Yeah. It's also to set up the support system in the country itself.
So, Mr. Sean, from your experience, how is the Singaporean brands doing right now in Vietnam?
I think like many other brands from all the countries around the world, I think some of them are getting it, some of them are not as successful. And it really just depends on, a couple of things. Are the brands and the franchisees in the local market executing well, right? You can have a great brand, but if you don't know how to execute well, the franchise is not likely to be successful. Remember that the franchise system is a partnership between the franchisor and the franchisee, and both have to do their jobs very well to make the franchise system very successful. With brands like Bread Talk or Chewy Jr., they're getting the right idea, they have the right product, they're marketing themselves, they're locating themselves in the right spots, and they really are catering their products to the Vietnamese consumer, and I think that makes a huge difference. That combined with the international brand, the training that comes along with it, the product itself, the R&D and the research that is being used to develop specific products for the Vietnamese market, those are all great qualities of great brands that are executing well in Vietnam.
It's interesting that you mentioned Chewy Juniors. I had the founders on my show before, and you have told me before the show that Chewy Junior, even though it's successful here, it's not doing so well in Singapore, the home market.
No, that they're not doing well in Singapore. They're doing well in Singapore, but they have more success here than in Singapore.
Why is that? Why is that, Ansha?
I think a big part of it too is, remember that Singapore is a very competitive market. Even though it's a very attractive market, it is a very competitive market. Almost every major brand in the world is there.
Okay.
In addition to that, of course, the consumer base is still quite small, right? You have about 5.5 million people. In Vietnam, you have 93 million people growing to become 100 million in the next 5 years. So the dynamics, the demographics, the economics is really driving the enormous opportunities for Chewy Jr. And the fact that the competition is very fragmented in this industry today. So they have been able to take an international brand from Singapore and perfect it and make it very, very strong, and to create a brand for itself in Vietnam and probably will continue to do very well in the very near future.
So there's a lesson that some other franchisee could learn from.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So besides something like this, the exhibitions, what are some of the opportunities for the Vietnam franchisees to approach the Singapore franchisor or any franchisor in the regional market? Any chance for them to approach, or?
You mean existing franchise systems
Yeah.
that want to go out to the
Or
international
go out
markets?
to-
Of course, as you know, many Vietnamese brands, the brands that we all know, Rap and Roll, Trung Nguyen, Highlands, many of these brands have successfully at some point entered other markets. And I think it really goes back to, again, focusing on the brand, making sure that your brand is as perfect as possible before you go overseas. Because going overseas means you have to make investments in the team to support the franchisees in these particular markets, to do the training, to do the R&D, and also to assist them with marketing and helping them to build the brand. And I think selecting the right franchisee operator is very, very important, because what we have found too many times from all over the world is that franchisors in the old days just chose anybody who had money and who said yes. And I think the challenge now is that that money is only really your basic requirement, right? You're looking for somebody who has great success track record. Maybe it's in franchising, maybe it's not in franchising. They have great communication skills, great people skills, because at the end of the day, regardless of the franchise, we are a people business, right? And then of course, you have to be coachable.
Okay.
Right?
So, Mr. Lim, from your experience of organizing many events like this, what is your lessons? I mean, in terms of building a community or building a good system to support the whole franchising community in Singapore that we can learn from? Because in Vietnam right now, we don't have like a standard franchising community yet. But from your experience, how can we build a system that support the franchisees?
Yeah, I think for the industry to grow, it's important to form a community, like you say, so that the franchisor can share experience as well. And in Singapore, very successful is because there's this franchising and licensing association. In many countries as well, I think in USA also, where they really play a key role. And actually, all these associations, they also join the World Franchise Council. So every year, they also exchange experience in US or in other countries. So Singapore, the association play a key role by also talking to the government in terms of regulation. So association play a role to feedback what is required to grow the industry, to perfect the system, everything. So because certain things are actually the regulation, the government regulation has to come in. So government play an important part by protecting the IP, the intellectual property right of the brand, everything. And also the training. So the association tied up with training institution to come up courses to educate. And of course also make use of exhibition as a platform. So during exhibition, there's not only just a booth, we also have conference and seminar, open talks to educate the franchisee to be. So it's an education to the whole market. Everybody know what is franchise, what's to look out for. So I think, I'm not sure in Vietnam is there an association right now. If not, probably that is one of the way to really to form an association and to grow the industry.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah,
thank you so much for sharing, and I wish you the best with your next exhibition.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thưa quý vị, vừa rồi là những chia sẻ của ông Winston Lim, là giám đốc của công ty Bizlink, đơn vị tổ chức triển lãm quốc tế về franchising tại Việt Nam vào tháng 9 sắp tới, và những chia sẻ của ông Sean Ngô, là giám đốc của Vietnam Franchisees, một đơn vị tư vấn về nhượng quyền thương mại.